The Nationals have backed the Prime Minister's plan to achieve net zero by 2050. Joining us live now out of Canberra is Liberal MP Tim Wilson. So what's your view on that? The Nats are on board. Tim, good morning.
Good morning, Peter, and I think it's fantastic news. Only the Coalition can really be trusted to address the challenges of climate change while taking the whole Australian community with us. And of course, that includes critically the role of the regions and of course, providing the jobs and opportunities that can be available there under a net zero future for Australia. And so I think this is welcome news. Obviously, the Cabinet still consider the final proposals, but it's a huge step in the right direction.
Part of the quid pro quo, though, is providing some kind of regional safeguard moving ahead, but there's no real way to guarantee that, is there? Because you might lose the next election, then it's up to the Labor Party and they might reverse some things.
Well, we know the safeguard, Peter. It's to vote Liberal and National in the different electorates in which people vote, because we're the only ones that can ultimately be trusted.
You can't provide guarantees, can you?
Well, what we can do is lay out a clear agenda where we're going to back regions every step of the way so they maintain jobs and opportunity and thrive in a future where we have lower greenhouse gas emissions. And of course, it's absolutely true. If you vote Liberal or you vote National, you're more likely to be backing Australian communities, Australian jobs, and particularly rural and regional jobs, because we want them to succeed. And if you vote for another political party, you're working to undermine that. And as you say, there's no guarantee that they'll back supporting rural and regional communities.
2050, the target is very much a minimum going by international standards. Does there need to be something more ambitious for 2030?
Well, we've already outlined a 2030 target at the last election that was endorsed by the Australian people. And of course, we know that there are going to be projections against the trajectory of Australia cutting greenhouse gas emissions by 2030 released shortly of all of the information that's already in the public square. Everybody is projecting we're not just going to meet, we're going to beat, we're going to smash our targets for 2030 early. And of course, we'll wait and see what the official government data says. But of course, that will lead to a conversation about our ambition. But it's a clear sign. Australia's emissions are going down. They've been 20% off 2005 levels. And there's a myth out there that people think otherwise. Australia's emissions are going down. And the reason we're having this conversation is because Australia takes commitments and delivers on them and cuts its emissions and is making sure that they continue to go down.
According to Newspoll, though, people want more ambitious targets. Are you worried about those figures out today?
I'm like all polls, there's only one that matters, which is election day. And I think that there's a lot of state wash, to be honest, is my view, through a lot of these news poll data. The real issue is, what is your plan to be able to deliver on emissions cuts? There are a lot of countries that make policies based on intent. We do it on the basis of outcomes. And we've set a clear target which we're meeting and beating, and that's the basis in which we can have a conversation about whether we go forward.